What were the Beatles' famous hairstyles? Have you ever wondered how the Beatles' hairstyles became such a cultural phenomenon? Their looks were not just about hair. They were a reflection of the times and their evolving image. In the early days, the Beatles sported slick-back hairstyles, reminiscent of the styles worn by Elvis Presley and Tony Curtis. These greased-up looks were typical for young men in the late 1950s. However, everything changed when they introduced the iconic mop-top hairstyle. This style featured longer hair with bangs that framed their faces. The mop-top became synonymous with the Beatles and was a bold departure from the short, conservative cuts of the previous decade. This hairstyle was influenced by European fashion, especially during their time in Hamburg, Germany. There, they mingled with young photographers who had similar hairstyles, and this inspired their new look. The mop-top was not just a fashion statement. It helped set the Beatles apart from other British pop acts. While many were still emulating American styles, the Beatles embraced a fresh, unique image. Their hairstyles contributed to their public persona and became a defining feature of their identity in the early 1960s. As the decade progressed, so did their hairstyles. By the late 1960s, the Beatles moved away from the mop-top and experimented with longer, more varied styles. This shift reflected the changing cultural landscape and their growing influence on fashion beyond music. They began to sport longer hair, beards, and more eclectic looks that mirrored the counterculture movement of the time. The Beatles' hairstyles played a significant role in rock music history. They showed how fashion and music could intertwine to create a lasting cultural impact. Their influence on rock and roll fashion is still celebrated today, making them one of the most iconic bands in music history. The hairstyles of the Beatles are not just a part of their legacy. They are a symbol of a generation that embraced change and self-expression.